let's take a look at an example with systematic sampling. So in this example, an economist wants to survey 400 renters regarding their income and budgets. She wants to make sure her sample accurately reflects the different prices of rental units in the United States. So she will use stratified sampling to collect her sample, where the strata are the different price levels of rental units according to the nationwide data obtained by the Census Bureau, showed in table 1.138, or 1.3.8. There we go. So here's the table. And this is actual data taken from the Census Bureau of occupied units paying rent. So this is the monthly rent. This was in 2019, so the numbers probably don't seem accurate to you now. But this is what the data was then. And the economist wants to survey 400 renters and make sure that each of these strata are accurately represented. Now, we're not going to find the whole sample. All we want to do for this example is find how many individuals this economist should sample from each strata. Okay? We won't do it for all the strata. There's quite a few here, but we'll look at a couple. Okay? Notice what this table is telling us. In the population, 9.2% of individuals paid less than $500 in rent per month. Okay? In the population, 34.1% of individuals pay between $500 and $999 in rent per month. So what this is telling us is the percentage or the proportion in the population. We want to preserve this in our sample. So when we sample the population, we want 9.2% of people in our sample to pay less than $500 in rent per month. We want 34.1% of individuals in our sample to pay between $500 and $999 of rent per month. So this example is all about finding how many people should we have in our sample in each category if we want to survey 400 renters. So the math is actually pretty simple. All we do is we take the size of the sample we want, in this case 400, and we multiply by the proportion of each category. Okay, so for this first category, we take our sample size 400 and we're going to multiply by the proportion. So the proportion is 9.2%, but remember, we cannot use percent when actually doing math. If we're multiplying, dividing, anything like that, we need to first convert the percent to something else. Decimal is usually the easiest. To convert a percentage to a decimal, just take the decimal point and move it 2 places left. Okay, if we do that, we get 0.092. Okay, so we're going to multiply 400 by 0.092. Okay, that's definitely a calculator problem, so let's pull out our calculator. We take our sample size of 400, we multiply it by 0.092, which is the decimal form of our percentage. It's the proportion of people in the United States who pay less than $500 in rent per month. Click evaluate, we get 36.8. Okay, so that's how many people we want in our sample who pay less than $500 in rent per month. Now, you might notice a problem. We can't actually survey 36.8 people. So we need to round. Okay, so this is about, 36.8 is close to 37. So we can't actually interview 37 people. We can't interview 0.8 people, so we need to round. Okay, so we round to the nearest whole number, which is 37. Okay, let's do it a couple more times just to make sure we get the feel of it. Okay, so let's look at this strata, the strata of people paying between $500 and $999 in rent per month. Okay, same trick. We take the size of the sample we want, 400, and we multiply by the proportion. So that'd be 34.1%, but we need to convert it to a decimal form. So that would be 0.341. Okay, we're going to use our calculator for that. 400 times 0.341, we get 136.4. Okay, so we get 136.4 people that we want to interview for this category. Okay, we want 136.4 people in our sample to be renters that pay between $500 and $999 per month. Okay, now we have the same problem here as we did in the last problem. We can't interview 136.4 people. The 0.4 is the problem, so we need to round this to the nearest whole number. We can only actually have a whole number of people. So 136.4, that's a little closer to 136 than 137. So I round it to 136. Okay? And just one more. Let's look at how many people we want in our sample that would be paid between $1,000 and $1,499 per month. 29.9% of people in the population pay this amount each month in rent. So we want 29.9% of our sample to pay this amount each month in rent. Okay? So I take the size of the sample I want, I multiply by the proportion, which is 29.9%, but we need to convert it to decimal form. So if I move that decimal point 2 places to the left, I get 0.299. Pull out my calculator. 400 times 0.299, 119.6. 119.6, which rounds to the nearest whole number. It's 120. So if we have 400 people in our sample, we want 120 of them to pay between $1,000 and $1,499 each month in rent. Okay, you do that for these other ones too. I'm not going to go through them all because it's very much the same, but feel free to take the time and double check and see what this economist would sample, how many people they'd sample in each category for a sample size of 400. Now, I should give one little warning here. Because we have to round, if we did this for all these categories and we round it, it's possible that our final sample size that we get, if we add up all those categories, will be a little different than 400. Okay? Without rounding, it'd be exactly 400. But because we have to round, we might get an extra person or lose a person somewhere. So just be aware of that, that because of this rounding, we might not have a sample of exactly 400 people. Okay?